Hey guys, it's JW, jumping on for another video. I'm at the elementary school and it's Friday afternoon. I just finished up a video over at the middle school a while back, and same traffic pattern here. Very, very quiet day again. Last Friday was the busy day. It was very busy. The previous 4 days were pretty quiet, but today it is really quiet. Although I'm seeing a tiny bit of a traffic backup as I said those words, but still much lighter than normal. I wonder if it has anything to do with maybe people just make their own 3-day weekends. I don't know. I mean, I can understand their point. Especially, I think maybe I'm onto something here. Yesterday we had an early release. The kids they get to school at 7:40, and they got out at 11:30. And I know a lot of parents who don't have the resources to have someone around to watch their kids. Take them to school, pick them up from school at an early dismissal when it's not conducive for the parent or the guardian, who usually picks them up at 2:30 or 3 o'clock, depending on which school they go to. And this can be very, very difficult. It's a hardship for some people because a lot of people work jobs where they don't have the luxury of, hey, boss, I'm going to have to pick up my kid at noon, so I'm going to leave for a little while. And, they don't have those types of jobs where they get that kind of leeway. I remember back in the day, I used to work, blue-collar type jobs in factories and stuff. And you punched the clock, the bell rang, you better start working. When it said lunch hour, you went to lunch, and, and the whistle blew. I mean, really, it was very structured. Then as I grew older, I worked for companies that didn't require, larger companies that didn't require you to use a time card. So, you kind of had a little more leeway. If you're a couple of minutes late, you weren't going to get scolded by the boss. I noticed your time card, you punched in a minute late. It's just, there's such thing as, you want a structured workforce, but not to the point of absurdity, all right? If someone's a minute or two late, unless they're compulsive about it, there's no reason to call them in on the carpet. And I remember back in the day when I worked that time clock job, if someone were a minute late, they spoke to you about it. And, it wasn't very good for morale, as I recall. Nobody had any real loyalty in that job that I worked in the factory job. Nobody seemed to have any real loyalty to their employer. And why would you? I mean, it's not like they ever gave you bonuses or didn't give you any time off, or not even a little box of candy at Christmas for your good work or efforts, And then I ended up working for other companies that did reward you and, gave you more flexibility if you needed time off. Now, so I'm thinking maybe some of these parents, they don't have the ability to get their kid that early, and if they can't get a friend or a relative to pick them up, they probably just keep them home, because yesterday was very quiet. And they probably just say, hey, the heck with it, and then, hey, why don't we just make a long weekend out of it? I won't send them tomorrow either. And, it kind of makes sense. They get these early releases now. They're very frequent, and it's very difficult on the parents. And I can see a parent saying, even the parents that don't have a problem finding someone to pick up their child, I can see them saying, hey, this would be a good opportunity to take a long weekend. Let's, the kid gets out at 11:30. Either we won't even bother sending them, or if we do, then we won't send them on Friday. We'll just head out for the weekend or whatever. And it makes sense. And take a little mini plane ride to New York or whatever, whatever they do nowadays for those little mini trips. But, it's, listen, this is a case, you're looking at me, I'm an old guy with probably too much time on his hands to worry about this stuff. But it's just part of my job. I pick up on this stuff. Believe me, I don't think about it. It's just, I see it, and it just, I get my wheels spinning, I guess. I like to figure why certain traffic patterns, why on this day it's backed up a half mile, and the next day there's nobody. And I said there was nobody today, and now it's backed up about a quarter mile. So anyway, whatever. I'm just a crossing guard. But anyway, it's good talking to you folks always. And once again, I'm going to plug my channel because I'm putting up some real good stuff on Stoic meditations every day. And I have a playlist. You can come back and listen to them all if you like. And another one on 365 days with self-discipline. Every day I put one up, from day 1 to day 365. And I think it's good motivation. And again, as I mentioned on the previous video I did today, it's good for stress and anxiety. So I encourage you to take a look at it. And in the meantime, I hope you have a great weekend. Talk to you later.